Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Asad Yaqub here, and I welcome you to a wonderful video on IELTS reading module. In this video, I'm going to tell you reading from A to Z. A to Z means from parts 1 to part 3. Okay? Exactly. Well guys, IELTS reading is quite challenging for many IELTS candidates, and whenever it comes to reading, they are like shivering. Okay, reading makes me shiver and I don't know how to overcome my shivering, right? Listen guys, when you have the wrong approach towards reading, towards IELTS reading, you will not be able to manage it timely. You will not understand the passages, you will never know the type of questions and all that. And as a result, whenever, I've noticed this thing, whenever you try to attempt reading haphazardly, reading is going to overpower you and you fail to find your answers. So in this video, I'm going to tell you briefly how to overcome reading anxiety and how to get your desired band. IELTS reading is divided into 3 parts, and these 3 parts are part 1, which is basic, where you have 13 questions and they check your basic understanding of English language. In part 1, we have questions like sentence completion and true false not given. Then there is part 2. Part 2 is level 2, intermediate level English. There they check your interpretation of the passage, right, and such type of things. And then we have reading part 3, which is advanced English, and in part 3 they further check your in-depth knowledge of English. They have advanced vocabulary and advanced sentence structures and all that. Now let me tell you, in IELTS reading there are 2 types of questions. One type is where questions and answers in the passage, they are in order. And the second type is where questions and answers are not in order. I call them type A, where questions and answers are in order. A means order, okay? And then type B, where questions and answers are not in order. B like B pair, okay? Now, how to understand where questions and answers are in order or where they are not? Remember, questions like sentence completion, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given, multiple choice questions, summary completion, any completion type question, right? And then we've got sentence completion with the box with all these questions. And when we have statements and matching, okay, questions are not in order, but statements, but the names of scientists, they are in order. So these question types are the ones where questions and answers are in order. I call them type A questions. Next, we have type B questions. In type B questions, there are mainly 2 types of questions. The first type is which paragraph contains the following information, and the second type is list of headings. For type A questions, I would say that you need to start your test with type A questions. In all 3 sections, you will find one word only. You will find true, false, not given, and true, false, not given, and cousin of true, false, not given is yes, no, not given plus sentence completion. They make around half of your IELTS reading, like 20 to 25 questions in every test. They are these type of questions, okay? So whenever you start your reading test, whenever you start any section, it's a good idea to start from there. After this, I would like to tell you, for instance, you read a passage and the answer is in the 3rd paragraph. What do the most students do? They first read first paragraph, then they read second paragraph. By the time they reach 3rd paragraph and they realize answer is here, they have read too much already. In IELTS reading, more you read, more you get confused. Okay, I'm telling you, if you're doing a lot of reading and then another problem, and then you are killing your time management. When you are reading a lot, when you are reading for no reason, when you're reading extra paragraphs, you're actually wasting your time. It's the enemy, okay? So this is very, very important for you, that you need to locate, or we call it, you need to reach the right part of the paragraph where there is the answer. And when you read more, you are less likely to understand. Your brain powers are drained when you read excessively and all that, okay? Now, how to see? We have two reading strategies. One is scanning, and I would advise you to focus scanning first. Don't read everything that comes in your way. Scan, 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 scan. For instance, I read the question, and in the question they say John Gould. Now I have to see where is John Gould. John Gould may be in second paragraph, maybe in third paragraph also, fourth paragraph also. So this can be confusing. John Gould is everywhere. Next, I have to see John Gould discovered something in 1905. All right, I don't know when he was born or when he died and all that. Okay, 1905. Right? Now you're going to see John Gould with 1905. So this is called the reference. I mean, the word clue word is John Gould, but in which context you have to see where are they talking about that. So scanning is the best technique that will save you time. That is actually not the time killer. That will manage your test. Always start with the questions like sentence completion, and luckily you will find sentence completion in every part of IELTS reading. 1, 2, 3, okay, in part 1, usually the first 7 questions are sentence completion. In part 3, we have summary completion, which is same. So start with completion type of questions, okay? Then there is another important question type. We call it true, false, not given, and students often get confused about true, false, not given. Let me tell you, in true, false, not given, there is a word or there is a phrase. That word or phrase decides what is the answer, right? I mean, for example, there is a word, all the people. In the question, they said all the people. In the passage, they say some people. Now, some people is the opposite of all people. Answer is false, okay? Now, in the passage, they say all the people, and in the question, they say all the people. In the passage, they do not say anything, whether some or all. They don't mention some or all, but they mention people, okay? So the answer is not given. Now, not given does not mean they will not tell you anything and all that, right? Another important point, in IELTS reading, we have sets of questions. For example, reading part 1, usually there are 2 sets of questions, S-E-T set, okay? There are 2 sets of questions. The first set is word sentence completion, and the second set is true, false, not given. In reading part 2, we have another like 2 sets of questions or 3 sets of questions. So whenever you are dealing with one part of your IELTS reading, you have to check which question type is easiest for me. And I advise you to start with one word only, one word and or a number, because you will find that word directly from the passage. Questions and answers are in order. Most of the time, all the answers are found in 1 or 2 paragraphs together. So this can save your time. In IELTS reading, time management is basically question management. It's basically the test management, which question you need to do first. And if you get stuck with a certain question type, or if you get stuck with one question, it's a very good idea to leave it, okay? Because if you do not find the answer, it's not good that you waste your time. Average, give 1 minute to one question, right? And do not stick to one question. Yes, in the end, if you find some spare time, you can come back, or otherwise you can guess, as there is no negative marking in IELTS reading, okay? Now, as we proceed, exhaustion sets in. I mean, after part 1, when we reach part 2, our mind is exhausted because we have to process a lot of information, and information is research based on science, technology, innovation, AI and all that. So when you reach part 2, if you do excessive reading, I mean, you will not be able to process part 3. So for that, it's a very good idea that there are 40 questions. 40 questions means that there are 40 locations in 3 passages, and these 40 locations will give you those 40 answers. Now, the most troublesome thing is to reach that location where there is the answer. Sometimes students find it difficult, and I'm sure if I give you a question and one sentence which contains the answer, true, false, not given, one sentence, one question, Word completion, one question, one sentence, and then you can finish your IELTS reading within 20 minutes time. Because reaching the right part of the passage needs good comprehension, good understanding of English language, okay? So that is why scanning will help you. After scanning, there is another type which is called skimming. Now let me tell you, skimming is only involved in questions like list of headings. We have list of headings question, and in that question type skimming is involved. Now what is skimming? Skimming is that you read something quickly and you try to reach the gist of that. And for list of headings, for example, it's paragraph C. You need to skim read paragraph C, and when you skim read, you read a sentence, and if the next sentence continues the same thing, you skip that sentence. Then you read third sentence, you get to know something, and for list of headings, before you go through the paragraphs, it's a very good idea to read all the headings and interpret them. Now, for example, there is a heading in Cambridge IELTS book, 3 different ways of learning. And in the passage, they mention firstly, secondly, lastly. So these are 3 different ways of learning. In one list of headings, there was the passage and there was the heading past and present of Oymyakon. Past and present. So look for a paragraph where there are 2 to 3 sentences in the past tense, 2 to 3 sentences in the present tense. Look for past dates and all that, okay? So once you interpret the headings, things are going to be pretty straightforward. And then we've got IELTS reading part 3. When you reach part 3, you are almost exhausted. You are not willing to solve part 3, and time left for part 3 is hardly sometimes 10 minutes, and some students don't even reach part 3, okay? So manage your time. Part 1 should be completed in 15 minutes because there we have type A questions. Part 2 should not take more than 20 minutes, and then the rest of the time you should have for part 3. In part 3, the first question type which is important is list of headings, and I advise you to do list of headings at the end. Find sentence completion in part 3, and there is always sentence completion in academic reading part 3 as well as general training reading part 3. Do those 4-5 questions. At least 4-5 answers will be right. And then if you see there are any yes, no, not given questions, they are also type A, or multiple choice questions, do them first. Once these questions are done, then you can come to list of headings, and whenever you do list of headings, start with the shortest paragraph. Start with the paragraph which you have already read because you're already familiar with that paragraph and you can easily find the heading to that. Then the second shortest paragraph, third shortest, and the largest paragraph or the longest one should be dealt with at the end. So these techniques sound like, maybe just like I'm talking to you and I'm making this video, but when actually you're going to use them, they're going to be very, very helpful. On YouTube, I have my videos where I have solved complete reading tests. These videos are going to help you a lot. Thank you so much. I also teach IELTS online all over the world. And in campus in Lahore, Pakistan, as I belong to Lahore, Pakistan, we have in-campus classes here. We offer IELTS test booking service. We offer study plans for IELTS preparation. Along with that, we offer student visa consultancy. So if you want to get any of these things, we have 2 wonderful books. One is on writing and one is on speaking. So if you want to get any of these things, you can just contact me on WhatsApp and I'll give you all the details. Asad Yaqub wholeheartedly wishes you best of luck with your IELTS reading. Take good care of yourselves. Allah Hafiz.